All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm back. I told you I had some things to do. You know, a lot of people were saying, where are you? What are you doing? And in the last video, I said at the end that I had some things to do. And it's as simple as that. I had things to do. You know, I went bowling. This is the other magical thing about bowling alleys. You know, there's no concept of time there. You know, I went to the bowling alley, you know, after that video. I thought I was there for an hour, and 2 weeks later, here I am. I spent 2 weeks in the bowling alley. Nah, just kidding. I went to Florida, actually. I was in Florida for a couple weeks, and I was there for a wedding in the Fort Myers area. And I didn't tell anybody because I know people in the Fort Myers area and Cape Coral and all that, and I didn't want them to be mad because I didn't have time to see them. I was going for a wedding, and it was just schedule to keep for the wedding, you know, that kind of thing. And I didn't want people to be upset with me for not visiting them. But it came out that I was there anyway, and Matt Williams was upset with me, you know, so there you go. There you go. But I kind of want to move there. Florida's awesome. And the Fort Myers area in particular, I've never been there before. And it was really awesome. So, I don't know. What do you think? Should I move to Florida? That would be something. You know, I'm a New Englander. There's no question about that. I grew up here. And I've always been up here for the most part. You know, I lived in New York for a while. That doesn't really count as New England, I don't think. Although York is in England. Man, New York's in New England, I guess. Anyway. But it was awesome. It was January, and I'm fishing, and you know, and just normal fishing, not ice fishing, just normal fishing. And I caught a few fish. You know, it was fun. I could have some good times in Florida, I think. I don't know. Maybe I should do it. Maybe I should just move to Florida. Although real estate, you know, these days, I don't know. I don't know, man. But yeah, I was at a wedding. It was a cousin of mine, and it was one of the closer cousins that I had when I was growing up, and it was a beautiful wedding. You know, it was a beautiful wedding, and my cousin, you know, he had gone down a dark path for a while, and there was even some, you know, demonic manifestations that happened. I'm not going to go into too much detail in his life, and he actually found the Lord after that, you know, and all that was put to an end, and he married the girl that he was actually dating at the time when all this crazy stuff was going down, and she stuck with him through the whole thing. And after, you know, they came out of that situation, he told her, hey, I'm a believer now, you know, we can't do the things we used to be doing. And she was like, okay, just like that. Like, she was just like, sure. And it required a lot of changes in their lives, as you might imagine. You know, again, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but she stuck by him, and they got married the other day, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful thing. Although it might have been a mob wedding, I don't know. There might be some mob connections at somewhere along the line. I mean, I don't know for sure, so, you know, I'm not going to say anything, but there were some things being said, that may have had undertones. You know, I don't know, but it was all good. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful time. And so, yeah, you know, I did that. Oh, I also met a cousin of my mother's who I had not seen since I was a baby, apparently. And huge Trump guy, very big Trump supporter. In fact, the kind of Trump supporter that they had to talk to beforehand and say, hey, you know, this is a wedding. You know, maybe you don't get into politics, but he did it anyway. You know what I mean? And we were talking about Trump for a while. You know, good stuff. Good stuff. I'm very, very happy to know. You know, there's a lot of good Puerto Ricans out there. You know, Puerto Ricans aren't all Democrats. You know, we're not all crazy. But yeah, big Trump supporter. Very good stuff. Very good to see people that I had not seen in quite some time. And some people are doing well, some people not so well. But, you know, we're all catching up and having a great time. It was a lot of fun. So I did that. And then I took a mini vacation after that, you know, and that was fun too. You know, spent some time in Florida, in a different part of Florida, you know, and well, it was a good time. Saw some wildlife, you know, alligators, things like that. You know, it was good. It was good. But a lot of stuff has happened since then, you know, a lot of stuff. So got a lot to catch up on. Let me know, because I don't really know what you guys are interested in, you know, because there's a lot of things to catch up on. We got Dusty Devers, you know, everyone's loving on Dusty Devers right now. They're loving on him, you know, even Big Eva. That's why I use the term loving on him, because I want to make sure I can be understood by some of these guys. You know, they're in support of his bill to ban porn, you know, and sexting. Both of those things are wonderful. And, you know, I have not always been on the ban porn bandwagon, because I still, you know, I a lot of you guys know I kind of grew up in this libertarian kind of mindset where banning things was not necessarily the right move. I'm on the banning porn bandwagon right now, but I'd be willing to exchange, you know, banning porn for actually enforcing laws against adultery. Adultery should be a capital crime. That's what I believe. I think the Bible is very clear on that. But even if you just look at nature, adultery being sort of a capital offense, I think it makes a lot of sense. When you consider that the family unit is like the primary unit of government as God conceives of it, and that's actually the only government that I care about. Government as God conceives of it. I think that our nation could do well by outlawing adultery again. I mean, in a lot of states it is outlawed, but it's just not enforced. But we should do that. I mean, because if a man that put it this way, a man or a woman that'll betray his wife or husband, as it were, will literally betray anybody. They're not fit for any kind of contract, any kind of obligation, any kind of responsibility. It's just not, your wife or your husband. If there's one person on planet Earth that you're going to be loyal to, it should be your spouse. And if you're going to go out there and commit adultery against your spouse, I mean, that's again, there's just really no, you're committing treason against our social order, our governmental order. Like that's a treasonous act. And that's why the Bible takes it so seriously. And I think that even in nature, just in the natural law, you could come to that belief just through natural law as well. It's a high crime, treason. You know what I mean? So there's that, and I think I'd be willing to trade the banning porn for the banning adultery, because really, at the end of the day, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? It would not be a lot. I mean, I guess there would be some porn because a lot of couples do that. But yeah, I mean, hey, there you go. We're getting a lot of love for Dusty Deevers. A lot of people are saying that's not Christian. I'm still against Christian nationalism, but Dusty Deevers, the Christian nationalist who wants to ban porn, that everyone's calling that's not a real Christian nationalism. I'm still against the real Christian nationalism. These guys, it's just unbelievable. But it's a great success though when you think about it, because everyone's talking about the Overton window. I mean, we have forced that thing so far afield. There's a lot of work to do. We cannot relent, but we have forced it so far afield that even like little worms like Griffin Coolidge. Griffin Coolidge, he's not really a worm. He's more like a grub. Griffin Coolidge is more like a grub. But even grubs like him are like, they have to support it. They have to we're setting the agenda now. You got to understand, we're setting the agenda now. And their hands are being forced in a lot of ways. Not every way, but in a lot of ways. So that's good stuff. I could talk more about that if you're interested. I'm certainly, in the comments section, let me know if that's something you're interested in. Also saw a new Doug Wilson article that some people said that I should comment on. It was about a Blake Callens article about, I guess there's a church in the CREC that is very, very racist. It's like a Klan rally church, And I don't really know too much about it. I do know some of the people at that church, and I think I've got good relations with them. I don't really talk to them ever, but they seem like good people. So there's that. And I guess Doug Wilson is lending his pulpit or bully pulpit, not really the pulpit, but the bully pulpit to Blake Callens' work. The very sophisticated work of Blake Callens. The crack reporting of Blake Callens is now getting the support of Doug Wilson's bully pulpit. At least in some ways, because he can't do it totally, because Blake Callens also thinks that Doug's a kinist, and Doug's church has lots of kinists in it, and misogynists, and they're pro sex abuse and all that stuff. You can't support Blake Callens in totality, I guess, because Blake Callens is I will give Blake Callens some credit though, because he put me in an article about how Christians online have like some kind of financial incentive to be incendiary or something like that. I mean, I just skimmed it. I didn't really read the article because I respect my time too much for that. But he put a tweet from me, a couple tweets actually. There's one about me being an anti-Semite, which okay, who cares? And also he put one about me comparing Karen Swallow Prior to a clown. And I DM'd him because I was very upset about that, because he actually misrepresented me, and I was very upset. He said that I compared Karen Swallow Prior to a clown, which is untrue. I didn't do that. because he makes it seem like I'm somehow against just clowns and generic clowns in general. Clowns can be quite delightful. And in the tweet, what I was doing was, it was around the time when it came out that Karen Swallow Pryor, you know, with that whole Tom Buck thing, and she's a little snake, and you know, I don't know why Tom trusted her, but he did, and all of that. And my tweet had Karen Swallow Pryor looking like a dark lord, and then Pennywise the Clown, and I said, who do you trust more, Karen Swallow Pryor or Pennywise the Clown? And that was what it was all about. It was about trustworthiness between Karen Swallow Pryor and Pennywise. But he made it seem like I was saying that she's just a clown. She looks like a clown, which, you know, in retrospect, I should have used the new Pennywise, because she kind of does look like the new Pennywise, you know, a little bit. But I used the old Pennywise because that's the Pennywise I grew up with. We all grew up with that Pennywise. So the old Pennywise, it was really more about who's more trustworthy. And so my message, Blake, because this is, I cannot let something like this stand. I have to make sure to correct the record. I said, hey, Blake. And he said, yeah, AD? Because, you know, we got like a bat phone connect, call him right up. You know, I just pick up the phone. It instantly connects to Blake, because he's a very, very important reporter and an important voice in this whole controversy. So I picked up my bat phone. I said, hey, Blake. He said, hey, AD, what's going on? I said, hey, I got a bone to pick with you. I need you to correct the record. He said, sure. And that's the credit I got to give Blake, because he was very open to correcting the record. In fact, he did it immediately. And I said, hey, in your article, you said I compared Karen Swallow Pryor to the clown. That's not true. I compared her to Pennywise the Clown, the demon clown. He's like a demon. And I think in the book, he's actually a demon. So I said, correct the record right away. And he said, right away, sir. And he corrected it immediately. So I got to give him a lot of credit. He does have some scruples. He did not want to misrepresent what I was saying. I wasn't saying she's like a clown. I was saying she was like Pennywise. And it's a debate whether she's more trustworthy than Pennywise, the demon clown, the shapeshifter, who you can't trust with anything. So there's that. I'll give Blake a little credit there. You know, Blake is not necessarily known for his accuracy. But in this case, you know, I corrected the record immediately, and he immediately obliged. He changed the article, and I have to say, my hat's off to you, Blake. I appreciate your scruples. Thank you very much. But I did want to say this. You know, if you want me to do the whole Doug Wilson article about, like, no enemies on the right and all this kind of stuff, and about some of the kinism, racism, you know, whatever, I'm glad to do it. But I did want to say this, just to make it clear, because I don't want anyone in Moscow to think that I'm against them, because I'm not. You know, I know that Blake Callens has ironclad proof that Moscow, Idaho is full of kinists and full of misogynists and racists, and God knows what else he said. I mean, he probably said some more things than that. But I wanted to say this, that despite the ironclad, you know, in completely true reporting of Blake Callens, you know, on Doug Wilson and all the kinism that he supports in his church, I still support you, Doug. I still support you. You know, Blake is known for his accuracy and his totally ironclad conservative bona fides. He's known for this. I got to say, I still support you. I'm still on team Doug Wilson and Moscow. I'm still into the Moscow mood, despite the indisputable evidence of kinism and misogyny and supporting sex abuse and all that stuff that Blake Callens has heroically, heroically uncovered and ferociously reported on. I mean, he knew it would cost him dearly to come out against Doug Wilson, and he did it anyway. I got to say, I still support you, Doug. I'm still on your team. You know what I mean? You're not my enemy. You're my friend. You're my friend, guys. You all are my friends, despite the fact that you obviously and clearly and indisputably harbor kinists, racists, misogynists, and all the rest. I got to say, I mean, you know, it's very, very interesting. But let me know. Let me know if you want me to... Let me know if you want me to go into that article a little bit more. I'm glad to do it. As a friend. What in the world?
Welcome to Super Mario Trivia, where you can
Computer.
test what you know about Mario.
Stop. What in the world was that? I don't know. Don't like it, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah, if there's any other topics that maybe I missed, let me know. I'd be glad to cover anything at all. People were saying they wanted some more Jets content. I mean, I don't really follow the Jets. You know what I mean? I mean, I do during the season. You know, I like to enjoy the failures of the Jets. You know, I'm a Jets fan, but I do enjoy the failures of the Jets. But I don't do off-season stuff. Like, I'm not into the intrigue of who they're gonna sign or what they're up to. I don't do any of that stuff. That's too much for me. Too much for me. So there's that. But let me know anything at all. Let me know what you want me to cover. I'm glad to cover it. I'm feeling very refreshed. You know, one of the benefits of being in Florida is there's a lot of Puerto Ricans everywhere, and so I got a chance to hang out with a lot of Puerto Ricans at the wedding, of course, but also just around. You know, just those are my people, man. You know, I love them. I love the Puerto Ricans. They're wonderful. And you know, there's that. And yeah. Yeah, there you go. By the way, it's definitely not the case that the guys in Pella, is it Indiana, the CREC guys that Calens was talking about. It's definitely not the case that they're the kind of kinnists that like attend like me, like they're like kinnists like me. You know, the kind of kinnist that has no problem attending a wedding between a Puerto Rican and an Italian. You know. Or a Dominican and Italian. That's the kind of kinnist I am. Like, I'm the kind of kinnist that is very glad to go to a wedding between two different ethnicities. It's definitely not the case. No, it can't be, because Blake has told us that some of those guys actually even think that different ethnicities might have different attributes too. Like that's the real he called, the bat phone goes two ways. He picked up the bat phone, he said, "Hey D, I've got a good one for you. This is the kind of people that you are hanging out with." And I said, "Whoa, I'm very concerned. Tell me about it." And I really was. I'm not even joking. I was really concerned because, when Blake has something on someone else, I know it's the truth, because this guy is, again, inscrutable. Inscrutable? I don't know. I went to public school. I don't know what that word means. Sorry, guys. I was trying to sound smart. But Blake has the reputation of facts are facts. I mean, it's just simple as that. He just presents the facts. Simple as that. It's like the Hulk Hogan thing. It's just a fact. That is a meme. That everyone who tweets Hulk Hogan is a Nazi, basically. So and hates Jews, of course. So he picked up the bat phone, called. "Hey, I got something. I got some hot stuff." And I'm like, "Okay, what?" And he's like, "Yeah, some of the guys over there in Pella, they were saying stuff like maybe different ethnicities have different attributes, like intelligence. That's the big one." And I'm like, I was thinking about it. I was like, "Oh man, that sounds pretty evil," because some ethnicities, like, you can't say that just because it's obvious that Samoans, for example. Samoans are physically massive people, more massive than Mexicans, let's say, or Mexicans are shorter than other people, or things like that. You can't say that stuff. That's racist. That's evil. You cannot say that stuff. And I gotta say, and as a Puerto Rican, the research, that some of these guys would be all about would say that Puerto Ricans on average have different IQs than white people or Asians, Chinese people, whatever. And you can't say it though. I mean, I there's no way that if I said that, then I would be probably the biggest racist around. I could never say that. And so he picked up the phone. He's very concerned, and I said, "Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much." But the thing is that I've read that research too. It's really not a big deal. It really isn't a big deal. You know what I mean? People do have different attributes. And it doesn't mean that I hate those people. I don't hate Samoans for being physically more strong than I am. You know what I mean? I don't hate Mexicans for being short. I mean, Mexicans are short. I mean, what can I say? I don't hate Asian people because they're better at math than me. I mean, allegedly. I don't know. My dad is a nuclear engineer, I should say. He's a nuclear engineer, The math gene, though, it skipped me. I'm one of those Puerto Ricans that doesn't understand math. I'm the guy at the table at dinner, and the bill is $100, and I'm like, how do I calculate an 18% tip? And I'm on the phone trying to calculate an 18% tip on $100. These days, though, $100 is like one burger. I don't know. I don't know. I'm very glad that they have those things that automatically put the tip in there for you, because that, for a guy like me, I used to sweat that out, and I'd always ask my white wife, can you do the math on this one? And she would do it because. Anyway, let me know what you want me to do videos on, because I'm glad to do one on the Doug Wilson article if you guys would find that helpful. And again, I'm not Doug's enemy. I'm not gonna. I disagree with Doug on a variety of topics. But there you go. I guess that's it. I got to get back to work. I hope you found this video helpful. God bless.
Mi amor.